What are subtle red flags at a job interview that say working here would suck? I was once part of a group onboarding for an IT job. They handed us all the one-page new hire contract and everyone except me signed immediately. When I read the paperwork, I discovered we were signing a mystery document. Clauses included I agree to abide by the personal search and seizure security policy, attached. Without other pages, there was no way to determine what I was agreeing to. I kept requesting more and more pages until the HR drone said okay, I guess, me, is just determined to hold everyone up. We will handle you separately if you're struggling so much. After I walked out and drove home, I called the hiring manager to apologize for not taking the job. He informed me that HR reported I had walked out after refusing to be drug tested. I was asked to sign a contract that gave the employer full access to my medical records. It was supposedly for drug testing, but worded badly. I signed every other page, and got the job. Would have been very interesting if they felt like drug testing me, and they weren't able to. When they ask out of nowhere what clients can you bring with you? I interviewed with MetLife Insurance about 20 years ago. They demanded that I provide them with a contact list of no fewer than 100 friends and family. Noped out of that quickly. Sure it wasn't an interview with an MLM? This actually happened to me. Interviewer, do you have any questions for us? Me, what is a challenge this department has recently faced? Interviewer, job security. Lamau got to give them props for honesty at that point. He should have just gotten up and opened the door and gestured out. Dude probably about to quit and was like, better save this guy before I dip. A true homie. How do you even answer after that? Just okay and walk away? Yes. Or take the gig and know it's short term if the gamble is right for you. Jobs where the expectations of the position aren't clear. The person hiring you should be able to give a clear idea of your responsibilities or day-to-day in a practical way. It shows that the company understands what it wants out of the position. I've worked a couple positions that had a really hard time figuring out who was supposed to do what that lead to a lot of confusion, and both of them had this in the interviews. If the company you're working for can't define what success in that position looks like, you won't be able to either. At my last place of work, the person interviewing me had a printed cartoon on their wall of someone who looked like a bomb had blown up in their face, with the caption, "I spoke with boss name about it. I guess we're still doing it." That wasn't subtle at all, but I ignored it. The boss was an absolute tyrant who wouldn't listen to her staff, consider changing her mind about anything, or let people do the work they were best suited to do. She wouldn't show up for weeks at a time. The job itself was decent, but she was the worst boss I've ever had. There's a good saying, people often don't quit jobs, and they quit managers. I didn't know it at the time, but "you'll be wearing many hats" was a sign that they were going to give me the work of 4 positions and the wage of 1. I didn't last a year there before I left, and now I won't even finish reading job ads that include that line. That's a nonprofit motto if I ever heard one. It's also a tech startup motto. And a hat modeling agency motto. If you are unsure what direction you want to take your career, many hats jobs do help you figure it out. They will also leave you angry, tired and frustrated, but you'll leave with a better sense of what you are good at and what you like doing. I once showed up for an interview and the manager wasn't there that day. No one called me to let me know. The assistant manager was not apologetic for the scheduling issue at all. She was literally just like, "Oh, she's not here today," in a tone that suggested I should somehow already know that. She said they would call me to reschedule sometime the next week. I told her I was currently unavailable Monday through Wednesday but could come in anytime Thursday through Friday. She said if I couldn't make time for the interview, I probably wouldn't be a good fit. I said okay, and went on to my other interviews and ending up working elsewhere. You'd think that would be the end of it, but both the manager and the assistant manager badmouthed me to a few other people in the industry, including one of my friends. Hello? I made time for an interview. You disrespected me by not calling me to let me know it was cancelled. I gave you the times I was available to reschedule, and that was disrespectful somehow? I would be livid. Definitely shows a complete disregard for your time. Everyone looks tired, also, you don't see anyone in your department before working in it other than the boss. Made this mistake a few times, was the worst jobs. When you are signing all the forms they give you and you are taking your time to read over every document so that you can fully understand what you are getting into, and people come in and start telling you that you don't need to read this and that, just sign here and so on. I hate that in any situation, not just jobs. Buying something big like a car and they're like, oh, it's just standard contract stuff. Let me decide if it's standard. You know full well if I sign this I've agreed to whatever the F is written. Company, standard contact stuff, don't need to read it, just sign. Also company, when in court, you should have read the contract to know what you were signing. It's just standard contract stuff. That's nice. But since we just met today, this is a several $1,000 decision and you have multiple financial incentives to screw me over, I think I'll read the contract. Thanks, it's cool, I just like reading contracts is one that throws them off. You are required to wear clothing that has the company logo. You must purchase it yourself. From the company. This is illegal in most US states, unknown about outside the US. Wait, really, this happened to me in Ohio. They also said I had to give it back, I didn't, lol. Edit, guys, stop making Ohio look so bad, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Lamau, they wanted you to purchase it and give it to them once you left? That's absurd. That's funny because that's actually happened to me recently. I laughed and told them to go F themselves, laughing out loud. I had a security job that I quit once. They demanded I bring back my uniforms. I asked if they had a check ready to pay for them. When they claimed it was company property and they were going to call the cops, I calmly explained that I still had the pay stub showing my payroll deductions for my uniform purchase, listed on the stub exactly as that. Told them I would gladly give them the uniforms back, because I didn't want them, but I want my $200 back. Never heard from them again. Aha. I had someone tell me the same. I never did because F them. I thought they'd contact me but didn't. But I did buy the shirt, so. I was once told sometimes the hourly workers go on strike and they lock us in to keep the production line running, but management brings us steaks and we have an informal agreement with the union so you can cross the picket lines once a week to visit your wife. The question was subtle red flags. Jumping on the not-so-subtle train here. About a month ago I interviewed for a position to run the office of a lawn/landscape company in my town. When I arrived, in-person interview, I waited at the receptionist's desk. A man wheeled out of the office in his desk chair and said to the receptionist, "Got a resume or anything for this one?" Meaning me. He literally looked at my resume for the first time sitting in front of me. He then started asking questions. Never introduced himself. No, hi, how are you? Thanks for coming in, etc. He interviewed me while I was sitting at the receptionist's desk, with the receptionist sitting there working. If she took a call, he just paused until she was through. He repeatedly referred to his landscape crew as my Mexicans, and when I politely ended the interview, he said, "Well, if you want you can call on Friday to ask if we want you back for a second interview." Bro, no. That's how they weed out people lacking desperation. If he can treat you like crap and you come back, he knows he can run you ragged and you'll beg for more. It's the same reason spam emails are obviously spam. It weeds out those that are smart enough to catch on later. Where the hell was that? It was a Honeywell chemical plant around 1990. We only want the best of the best. Me. How much are you paying? Minimum wage. Salary, competitive. Reality, minimum wage. Salary, competitive. Reality, competitive to sweatshops. This actually happened with me, but at a professional scale. At the time, I was unhappy with my current job because I was underpaid and constantly having to work extra to make up for the incompetence of someone who made significantly more than I did. This company was trying to recruit me, and their pitch was that they didn't hire employees who didn't pull their own weight. They pushed this message really hard in each interview. When it came time for salary negotiations, they got exasperated and made it clear they thought I was overpaid. They were hoping to pay a salary that'd be an insult to anyone talented. My old boss got this. He was sick of his long commute. So he went for an engineering position closer to home. When they finally got around to salary, he literally laughed in their faces. They were genuinely shocked at his response to their generous offer. He's still commuting as far as I know. When you ask, "What do you like about working here?" and the interviewer talks about the location of the job, it's a great place to live, instead of the actual job. I asked this at one of my first interviews right out of school. My interviewer went, "That's a good question," and was ruminating for a good 2 minutes. She went with, "We get pretty good parking spots," and quickly followed with, "And the people are nice." People are nice is actually a good one. Sometimes can be the only real reason that the work doesn't outright suck. It's a question I always ask. Watch the interviewer's faces when you ask, they'll react honestly immediately with their expressions before they answer. If their face falls or they look confused or annoyed, delta out of there. Best job I had, the interviewer broke into the loveliest smile and then gushed about the place for 10 minutes. My problem with this is I've noticed a lot of places, including my current job, have switched to using recruiting companies for many positions, who have absolutely no experience in working inside the company. They could only be expected to quote you the /careers page from the company website. If they seem too relieved that someone actually showed up for the interview. I just had an interview last week where they showed up 30 minutes late because they weren't expecting me to show up after the first 3 hires never came to work. Tried to hire me on spot and wanted me to work a different department than what I applied for. Makes you wonder if they told the missing hires to show up somewhere else. Maybe they're actually still working for the company in the other department. I brought up a company's awful Glassdoor reviews and they got so mad they ended the interview. Well, guess I dodged that bullet. I've done this a few times during interviews. I've gotten the same responses and it has never been addressed professionally. Even when companies have stellar reviews, I like to ask about their online reviews. It shows me their reactions to stressful situations. I also figure they're looking at everyone's LinkedIn or whatever, so if they judge me by my online presence, I don't see why I can't do that to them. I'm not obligated to work for someone simply because they extended an interview. I had a pretty good experience the one time I tried. The company had a couple years of terrible reviews followed by a couple recent much better ones. I asked about it and they explained that a co-founder had been abusing their position and the board and other execs had finally removed them, and were working very hard to improve employee relations. They talked about some of the ways they'd been working on it and totally owned the bad reviews in their past. Still ended up not going there for other reasons, and I was leery of a company that could let that happen for years, but it was a better response than I was expecting. It can take a really long time to get rid of someone toxic who is politically insulated in an organization. This is good practice for any interview. Ask them the hard and real questions and see how they respond. It's always a disgruntled ex-employee who wasn't a team player. I know. I've asked. Didn't take the job. Team player. That's a good red flag for me. We're all team players, we're all family, we all help each other out when it comes to scheduling means that the interviewing manager is going to use and abuse you as much as possible for as long as you'll deal with it. I've never experienced a case where that isn't the truth. Edit, don't get me wrong, I've got a handful of people who are now extremely important to me, and I met them at work. We worked very well together and genuinely were like a family. I'm pointing my finger at companies who brag about creating that environment. They almost never do, and have an unbelievable turnaround rate because they actually create a terrible environment rather than a comfortable, family-like one. You can't become a family when no one will be there in 3 months. Also, yes, mistreating your employees in any way, including lying to them initially about hours required or job responsibilities, is wrong. I don't care what kind of justification you come up with. If the job requires 60 hours a week, be a effing adult and tell me that. Don't hide it behind sentimental bullcrap like we love you and you'll be part of our family. We're a family. We work hard and play hard. I passed hard. One of the owners of a software group around here used to say, when they say work hard/play hard, the play hard never happens. Here, we know you have a family, hobbies, and obligations outside the 40 hours you spend here. Here we say, work hard and go home. Work hard, then go play with your kids. Work hard, then go do some gardening. Come back feeling alive, not ragged. If you want to play hard, go for it. Here, we know you have a family, hobbies, and obligations outside the 40 hours you spend here. Here we say, work hard and go home. Work hard, then go play with your kids. Work hard, then go do some gardening. Come back feeling alive, not ragged. Sounds like a unicorn of a boss. Hope he lives forever and any idiot sons he has never takes over the business. Sigh, this is currently my best friend's boss. Has him on salary and is completely honest with him. I need the following crap done this week and if it takes you 100 hours or the entirety of 20 minutes, the choice is yours. I only dream of such employment. I already have a family, thanks. That's hilarious. Hope you left them a review. Thanks for everyone who warned me about this place. They didn't like that I was warned about this place. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.